Okay, happy Friday to you. So let's do a little experiment. So find a posture that you can be reasonably stable and comfortable in, well supported. And then close the eyes. And just let go. Just have whatever, don't try to let go, just let go. So you're likely familiar enough with how to do that because you've started to develop this skill of inhibition or surrender or letting go or softening, relaxation, undoing. So you can just drop it, just let go, and notice, you maybe notice the little impulses, little tendencies to latch on again, and just continue to let go just for a moment, just for a moment. So you don't have to try hard to sustain it, but just for a moment or however long you can comfortably just let go and let go and let go. See how much you can let go, how much you can surrender just for a moment. And then I want you to notice something about this. So you're still here, obviously, but as you let go, whatever you're letting go of, it dissipates or dissolves, disappears. So what you're left with is what? So we can't put a name on it. I mean, we could put a name on it, but it's not the name, obviously. But I want you to notice something about this. Notice that it's completely wide open. There are no limitations. So the limitations only are they're false. They're false limitations, but what appears to be a limitation is only the habit of doing. So as soon as there's a contraction, then something is starting to take form, and necessarily as soon as something is starting to take form, other forms are excluded. So that's the nature of duality, right? Is that we are differentiating. Something is beginning to take form, and whatever is not that is excluded. So just notice that. Notice that there is a limitation created, or an apparent limitation created, as soon as something starts to take form. And then drop it, let it go, release, surrender. And notice that that form dissolves, the form disappears, but there's still something here. It's not a thing. You can't say what it is, but there's, for lack of a better word, I'll just say something. Presence, awareness, consciousness. And notice the quality of this, that it's, again, it's unbounded, it's unformed. So we could say it's pure potential. Anything is possible. So here, anything is possible. But as soon as you start to differentiate and you say, what is possible? Even just the hint of that question, well, what is possible? Now you're starting to give form to it, subtle, but form nonetheless. So notice as soon as you do that, there's a limitation or an apparent limitation, because as soon as you say, well, what is possible? Then there's something that's not possible by definition, because if this is possible, that's not possible. If I'm here, I'm not there. If I'm this, I'm not that. So that's not bad. It's not wrong. It's not even a problem. It's just something to observe. It's just something to notice. So again, drop it. Just release, surrender, relax. And if you need any clue or hint or reminder about how to do that, there are many ways, but one way that I find, as you know by now, that's very effective is to bring attention to the felt sense. So where is there a felt sense of tension or holding on or contraction or tightness? And just notice that you've, in a general sense, you've developed this skill to some degree of inhibition, and that generalizes so that you have this skill to know how to start to loosen that just a little bit. So you notice where that is. Maybe you notice in the forehead, or maybe the tongue, maybe the back of the head, maybe the wrists, maybe the knees, maybe the feet, maybe the shoulder blades, maybe the chest. So you just notice where that is, and you just gently start to loosen that, release it, surrender. So again, you might notice here is this unbounded experience, unbounded pure potential. So anything is possible, anything at all, anything, because nothing is yet. Nothing is actually here yet. So it hasn't taken form, anything. You don't know. You don't know who you are. You don't know where you are. You don't know what anything is. That's the truth. Of course, your mind might disagree with that, but we're not talking about the mind here. We're just talking about indirect experience. So you just can notice indirect experience. You don't know what is happening. You don't know where you are, who you are. You don't know anything. You don't know. All of those things come later. They come as a result of some kind of effort, some kind of contraction, some kind of shape or form, some kind of exclusion that takes place. It says, I'm this, not that. I'm here, not there. I can do this, I can't do that. This is possible, that's not possible. But here, as you just surrender, anything is possible, anything. It's completely wide open. None of it is. None of it is actually occurring. But anything could occur. Anything at all. So this is important to notice now. Okay, so we can engage the intellect for a moment. Just notice how you normally live your life, what the normal assumption is. So there's no real inside or outside, but just to talk about it, we could say that it's as if we normally live our lives from the outside in. So meaning that there are these outside constructs, so these forms, and we say, that's reality, that's primary, that's what I'm dealing with. And so then we define our inner by the outer. So we say, well, this is my awareness, my inside, my experience, my perception. And who am I? Well, I'm this person. How do I know that? Because that's my outer experience. My outer experience defines my inner experience. So we're living normally from the outside in. Well, see what the limitations of that are. The limitations are pretty severe, because pure potentiality is being limited, which is obviously against its nature. The nature of pure potential is unbounded, which you can recognize because in an instant, as you drop all of the external focus and you just release and surrender to the natural state was here prior to everything else, what you find is unbounded, no limitation. So obviously, if we're living from the outside in, we're going to be experiencing frustration because we're going against nature. We're going against nature. Nature, which reveals itself to us when we just surrender, when we stop trying to impose our artificial construct on it. Nature reveals itself to us. So here we're just surrendering and allowing that revelation. So just surrender, drop it, relax. You don't have to try. There's nothing for you to get. Anything that you could get would be another form, another object, some other limitation. And so seeing now that limitation, seeing that that's going against nature, then just be willing to drop it just as an experiment now. Okay, so there's nothing to get. There's really honestly nothing to get. This is not like that, because anything you could get would be just more baggage. And all that does is it reinforces that outside in living. So from the outside in, we're just adding more baggage, more burden. Is it any wonder then that you feel weighed down? And it reinforces this distrust that we have in nature. So we say, yeah, that's fine, nature, that's fine and all, but I've still got to do something, or I'm not going to be okay. So nature's against me and I'm against nature. That's what we're reinforcing. That's what we're teaching ourselves. That's the training every time we live from the outside in. So subtly, if you're still grasping for something, what are you signaling to yourself, to your conditioned experience? So this is like the programming. Okay, so what programming are you inserting? Clearly, the programming is life's not safe. Nature is against me. I'm against nature. So what we clearly want, what we're desperate for, I mean, let's just tell the truth, what we're really, really, really desperate for is something radically different than that. We don't know how to get there, because every time that we try to get there, we disappear. Well, here's the big clue in that. The one who disappears is not you. See? So again, just drop it all, let go. Really completely let it go. I mean, you'll see the impulses arise to claim it. You'll see that's, oh, but I can't, that's my pain. Oh, I can't, but that's my discomfort. Oh, I can't, but that's my frustration. Oh, I can't, but that's my experience that I've got to deal with. And I'm just saying, see that that's not true. So whatever happens, just let it happen. Don't make a big deal out of it. Don't make a big drama out of it. Like, oh, poor me, I can't get it right because I'm still having experience. No, you're not. See, this is the thing. Just see that the experience is occurring, but there's no one to claim it. The one who's claiming it is just more experience. It's just another thought, isn't it? It's my experience. That's just another thought. So drop it. Just drop it all. Whatever happens, let it happen. If pain happens, fine. Discomfort happens, fine. Sensation happens, fine. Freaking out happens, fine. Numbness happens, fine. Boredom happens, fine. Anger happens, fine. Whatever. Let it happen. And just keep letting go. Keep surrendering. So just, what does that mean? There's a flow. So you don't need to fight the flow. That flow is happening and you don't need to fight it. You don't need to claim it. You don't need to say this is mine. You don't need to fix it. You don't need to judge it. You don't need to analyze it. You don't need to do any of that. Just let it be. And keep letting it be, 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 and just let it be. It's just a flow. So now notice, I want you to notice something. You are still here. So you who are not a thought, you're not a thought, because you're just letting the thoughts come and go. The thoughts come, the thoughts go, the thoughts don't come, whatever. You'll notice there are moments of no thought, then there are moments of thought, moments of no thought, moments of thought. It's not about getting rid of thought. We don't care. Notice that here's the thing. You're here when there's thought. You're here when there's no thought. Just see that that's true. You're here when there's no thought. So what do you care if a thought arises? You're absolutely impervious to thought. Thought doesn't touch you. Thought doesn't matter to you. Thought is coming and going. You remain. This is plainly obvious. You just have to be willing to let go enough just to catch a glimpse of it. It's not about entering an endlessly thought-free state, although that might be nice. But, you know, a lot of things might be nice. But we don't want to make our okayness dependent on that. So just notice that you are here even when there's no thought. Now that should be revolutionary. I'm here when there's no thought? Holy cow. So this is why I say there's nothing to get, because anything that can be gotten is just another object, another thought, another belief, another experience to be had, and they all come and go. You've heard this before, but now see it freshly. See it from this perspective of being witness to the experience, actually directly seeing that you are here even when there's no thought. Just do it again. Try it again. Just relax, release, let it go. Whatever happens, don't try to stop the thoughts. Don't try to push the thoughts away. We don't care. Thoughts come, thoughts don't come. So what? Just notice that sometimes there's thought and sometimes there's not. Maybe it's thought, and then for half a second, no thought. Just half a second, maybe just a quarter of a second. But just notice it's there. There's no thought. Notice even when the thoughts are there, the thoughts are existing in the same space. So not strictly space, but just to give a word to it. Okay. So in the same space of no thought, there's also it's the same space in which thought occurs. So there's space when there's no thought, there's space when there is thought. Thought when there is space, when there is thought, space when there's no thought. So now start to notice that space. So the space is here regardless of the thought. Well, Now you notice the space is here even when there's sensation. So there's space here. Now again, I said it's not strictly space, but it's just to give a word to it. So you perceive it however you perceive it, but just notice that somehow there is some thing that you can't really put your finger on. You can't really get hold of it. You can't identify it, but it nonetheless, it's here, and it's here regardless of what else is here. So just again, drop everything. Just let it all go. Let it all happen however it does. And notice how all of that stream of happening is occurring in this, what I'm calling space, or whatever you want to call it: stillness, silence, emptiness, awareness, wholeness, boundlessness, pure potential. So you can maybe start to see that this pure potential actually is unaffected by whatever occurs. So as I was suggesting earlier, that as soon as it starts to take form, then its opposite is also true, right? So as soon as it's this, it's not that. But the pure potential remains as pure potential, which means, and you can verify this just through your direct experience, just through direct perception. So you just notice whatever form occurs, any thought, perception, shape, sensation, image, whatever, that this pure potential still remains. This pure stillness, emptiness, space still remains. And it's unaffected, untouched. So the same potential, which is infinite, remains always. This is really interesting. So you can notice where you are. So your idea of yourself obviously comes and goes, because your idea of yourself is a form. And as you allow that to dissolve, then you notice in between the arising forms, in between each thought or image or memory or sensation or whatever else, that in between there remains something. And well, by the way, notice this: isn't whatever this is that we're talking about that remains, isn't it you? Aren't you the one that remains? So here you are, you remain. You're not separate from this pure potential, are you? You're the same, you're identical. You are that pure potential. You are that. So your mind, mind has an opinion about that. Mind wants to do whatever, but forget about that for a moment. Just notice it. It's just staring you in the face. It's completely obvious. You can't figure it out. You can't arrive at that, but you can recognize it. Oh yeah, I'm the one who's aware. This is me. This is me. I'm the one who remains. I'm continuous. I'm the one that's always here. I'm always here. Always, 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 regardless of whether the experience is up or down or left or right or here or there or this or that or good or bad or whatever, or even if there's no experience. See, even if there's no experience, because there's no object, there has to be an object for there to be experience. There has to be distance for there to be an experience. But if there's in these gaps where there's nothing happening, no arising phenomenon, I remain, I am here, I am. So you can notice that. Now you can start to see maybe more clearly why the outside in method of living is so frustrating. Again, you can see it's in defiance of nature. It stands against nature. It's against nature. But here you are and it's clearly obvious in the gaps. Hopefully you're recognizing more and more of those gaps as we're just here resting. And so again, just to make it clearer in case you're forgetting, which does tend to happen, especially if you get wrapped up in the mind trying to understand something. But just notice again, bring it back to the awareness of the body sense, the felt sense. So notice, where is there unnecessary effort? Can you just release that, soften that, relax that, and don't aim for 100%. It's not an all or nothing. It's just a little bit here, a little bit there, good enough. A little bit here, a little bit there, that's fine. 1% is better than no percent. So 1% soften. Don't try, don't strain, just soften. And again, it's a skill that develops. It's the skill of inhibition. It's the skill of not doing. Sounds crazy. Think I should know how not to do. I should already be skilled at not doing, but it takes conscious focus, attention to develop the skill to learn, oh, there's that impulse, runaway train, and then to stop feeding it, to let it go, stop energizing it, learn how to inhibit. So you notice in the abdomen, what can you soften there? What about in the buttocks? The throat, that's always a good one. The throat really likes to get involved in trying to do everything. Shoulders also like to do everything. Forehead usually likes to do everything. Back of the neck, back of the head, they like to do everything. Shoulder blades like to do things like to squeeze and all kinds of stuff. So you just notice where you're making the unnecessary effort and soften. Notice that that's easier. Even though, by the way, the brain at first might say, this isn't easier, this is hard work. It's hard work to let go. So that's why you just go for 1%. Don't, if it's hard work, it's because you're overdoing it. You're just overreaching. If you're in kindergarten, you do kindergarten work. You don't try to do graduate school work. It would just be totally overwhelming. So if you're in kindergarten, just do kindergarten level. I'm kindergarten at best, preschool. Okay, so it's okay. You're doing fine. We all start where we are. If you hold yourself to an impossible standard, you'll slow your progress. Notice that your breathing maybe can become easier. Hopefully it's already become easier. That doesn't mean it's bigger, doesn't mean it's deeper, doesn't mean anything. It's just easier. more relaxed. Might be smaller, might be anything, but just should be easier, more free, more natural. And of course, if you give your attention to it, you can allow it to be even more free, even more natural. Not by counting, not by pushing, not by squeezing, not by huffing and puffing, but just through gentle awareness, just noticing, oh yeah, I'm squeezing there, I could release that. Oh yeah, I'm pushing there, I could release that. And you can just let go of every idea that you have about how it's supposed to be, how you're supposed to be doing everything, how you're supposed, what your posture's supposed to be, how you're supposed to be sitting, how you're supposed to be breathing, how you're supposed to hold your head, how you're supposed to do all these things. Just let that go, because that's just more unnecessary stuff. More forms that exclude, in your manifest experience, exclude other possibilities. So we, instead of living from the outside in and imposing all of these restrictions, we're starting to discover this possibility of living from the inside out. So you're surrendering, releasing, relaxing, softening, inhibiting, discovering more and more of that stillness. And you're hopefully discovering that that stillness is always here. It's always here. So this does not mean, oh, now I've got to always be completely relaxed or I'm not going to be okay. Oh no, I can't ever forget. I can't ever, for even an instant, I can't tense up, because if I do, I'm failing. I'm not getting it right. It's not like that. It's to see this is always here, always has you. So this is important, because if you do it the other way around, you're going from the outside in. You're trying to impose some sort of artificial rule or construct. It's like building a dam on the river. It's not going to be a good thing. So it takes a lot of courage to allow that wildness, to allow that spontaneity, to allow that naturalness, because it's dangerous. It undoes everything. By out of necessity, it undoes everything, all of the artificiality. All the limitations have to be undone for there to be this complete flow of spontaneity and naturalness. So it can be terrifying at times. Well, who will I be if I don't armor myself? Who will I be if I don't tense up in indignation? Who will I be if I don't act out that anger? Who will I be if I don't tell them who's boss? Who will I be if I don't indulge all of my habits of alternating grandiosity and self-deprecation? Who will I be? And of course, you can't know in advance. That's what's really dangerous about it. You can't know who you'll be. You'll just be who you are. So you're just surrendering, releasing, relaxing, just allowing and noticing that all of this experience is occurring in this silence, stillness, wholeness, boundlessness, awareness that you are, and that it's directly experienced. It's not some fabrication. You can actually perceive it. So now you're starting to maybe get a glimpse of what it is to live from the inside out. And what that means, first of all, is you're living in awareness of this pure potential, so that you recognize that the limitations are coming from the outside, but that inside, which is infinite, which is absolutely unbounded, complete, whole, pure, that there are no limitations. Just notice that. It's not an idea. It's something to notice in your direct experience. Just notice here there are no limitations. Anything is possible. Anything. You don't know what is. You don't know what could be. Anything. 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 And even if just in your imagination, you have to accept that anything is possible. You could imagine right now, you could imagine that you are a purple space alien. See, it happens. It's just like that. It's just in imagination it's possible. So there you go. So at least at the level of imagination, you can see that anything is possible, and that comes from this field of pure potential, which is unformed, which is here always, 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 always. And you're directly in contact with it because you are it. And again, that's not an idea. So just notice that what that's pointing to in your direct experience as you just relax and surrender in the space between all of the experience. You remain. You are here. Even when nothing else is, even when no thought is, no form is, no sensation, even if that gap is only a millisecond, it's enough to demonstrate that you are here. You are always here, regardless of what else is appearing. So you are this pure potential. And then you can notice that your most intimate nature is one of uninhibited flow. Well, I'm using the word inhibition in two different ways now, but let me rephrase that. It's a true statement what I said, but I'll rephrase it for point to clarify, make it clearer. Your nature is unrestricted flow. That's just your nature. So you can notice this because as you just keep surrendering, what does this mean? Nature, your nature. It's obviously what's occurring when you're not interfering, when you're not making some kind of effort from the outside in, when there are no external constructs, no conditions placed on it. You can notice that arising in the bubbling, kind of in this brew of pure potential, there's this flow, and it just happens. It comes and goes, comes and goes, comes and goes, comes and goes. Everything is coming and going, coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. And you can notice that you are unaffected and definitely unharmed by that. Not only that, as I say unaffected, but that's not purely accurate, okay? Because that implies unaffected, that it's separate from you. But I want you to take a closer look now. Notice all of this bubbling, this seeming movement, this flow, sense of energy, vibration. Notice notice that its nature is not separate from your nature. So your nature is, as we've already seen, this unbounded pure potential. And this flow nature is not separate from that. It arises from that. It is one with that. It's a continuous it's a continuum. So like the waves rising from the ocean, but they're not separate from the ocean. It's one ocean. So these phenomena, experience, desire, vibration, you can just notice it directly right now in your experience. It's occurring in you and as you. It's not separate from you. So your nature is both stillness and flow, both silent and sound. It's both. And there's no contradiction because they are a continuum. The mind can't understand that, but you can just directly experience it, perceive it, and notice that it's true. So what threat does the wave pose to the ocean? Obvious, hopefully, obvious is that it doesn't pose a threat to the ocean. And so similarly here, what threat does your flow nature pose to your silent nature? So it's only from the outside in that we perceive that there's a problem, because we perceive, well, I am that. I am the end result. I am that dense form. I am that thing. I am that fragile construct, and I've got to protect myself, and I've got all these rules that I've got to obey in order to keep myself alive, keep myself safe. But of course we can see, so that's like being the wave, identifying as the wave. But you can see that from that perspective, we're all doomed. That's a terrible way to perceive it. It's very, very insecure, because the wave is destined to crash. There's no way around it. It cannot sustain itself forever. So all forms will dissolve. It's their nature. They must. So outside in says, I'm insecure. I've got to have all these rules, keep myself safe. But then inside out allows us to have very different perspectives. So just notice that these forms are always coming and going. The identities are always coming and going. I'm a good person, I'm a bad person, I'm an attractive person, I'm an ugly person, I'm a sick person, I'm a healthy person. I'm succeeding, I'm failing, I'm getting somewhere, I'm not getting somewhere. It's a good day, it's a bad day. On and on and on and on. All these things come and go. And they always do. There's never not happen. It's never going to not happen. It just keeps on happening. But it's like the waves. So you can see that they just come and go. That's their nature. And as you surrender here, so again, let's just bring the attention to the felt sense. Notice where you can easily let go a little bit, not aiming for perfection, just a little bit, just it's like the low-hanging fruit, whatever you can easily surrender. Maybe you notice in the abdomen, in the chest, in the shoulders, in the wrists, fingers, forehead, tongue, jaw, ears, inside the ears. That's a good one. Surprising how much you can hold inside the ears. So just letting go, surrendering, allowing yourself to be still, noticing the breath, letting the breath be relaxed and natural. No pushing or forcing or squeezing, just letting yourself breathe however you do, without any straining or striving. So you can then notice again that here you are, you're aware, even as all of these impulses come and go. So you come back to the subtler experience, noticing subtler impulses, releasing subtler impulses, more and more restful. And even so, that doesn't mean that those other experiences may not still be occurring, but you're just surrendering more and more to the subtler. And so you might start to notice again between the arising phenomena, around the arising phenomena, during the arising phenomena, that there's this awareness, there's a stillness, there's a space, there's a presence, and that you are that. It's not you, you're not separate from that, aware of that, watching it at a distance. You are that. You can't distance yourself from this. Every time you try to look at it, you take a step out and then you're making an object. It's too much effort. So you have to just keep letting go. And then you just start to notice, even when there's nothing no objective experience, there's no objective phenomena, there's nothing that I can say that's a thing and I'm at a distance from it and I'm aware of it. There remains awareness, there remains presence, there remains you. Beyond all understanding. And you can see, you just look very gently, very lightly. Don't get too involved in it, but just start to just peer into the phenomenal experience very lightly. You'll start to see all of that stuff, all of the subtle like seeds are there for all of these things, all of the I'm a good person, I'm a bad person, I'm a success, I'm a failure, I'm succeeding, I'm not succeeding, I'm getting somewhere, I'm not getting somewhere, people like me, they don't like me, I like myself, I don't like myself, on and on, all of these things. It's a good day, it's a bad day, good life, bad life, I'm forgivable, I'm not forgivable. All the seeds exist, they're all there. And you are aware, you're aware. All of those seeds are there and you are aware. And there's the flow of it's like you notice that it's constant movement, flow of energy, perception. And so whatever forms take place, whatever occurs, you can just notice that you are always here. And so you might start to wonder, be curious about, what about this sense of a continuous me apart from awareness, like a continuous objective me, and isn't that curious? Because what is that? And so you can just see that is just one of those seeds. It's just another subtle form. There's continuous objective me. It's just another form, another idea, another thought. You can see that the real truth of it is that there's no continuous objective you. There's just in between the this complete silence, there's sometimes arising phenomena. And sometimes that the arising phenomena has latched onto it this aspect or this belief: I am this presently arising phenomena is a continuous objective me. So you can see this pure potential can manifest in any way if we're living from the inside out. If we're living from the outside in, then that construct of the continuous objective me is the limitation that just keeps says, well, who is that? Oh yeah. So that pure potential is limited in its expression because we're going against nature. We're saying this outside limitation can determine what's possible. But from the inside out, you can see as soon as that the phenomenon begins to take form, you can see, oh yeah, there's that aspect of the continuous objective me with all its limitations, with all of its troubles, with all of its problems. And you could just let go. Like, why bother with that one again? Why do that? So in a moment, I'll invite you to begin to open your eyes. Don't do that yet, but in just a moment. And so I'd like you to, again, be aware of this, which is truly continuous, truly always here, which is that which is present even when nothing else is, when no thing is, when no form exists, when there's no thought, you remain. So this is not another idea, it's not another belief that you should take on, it's a direct experience. So I want you to see that, recognize that. So just relax, surrender, soften. Just notice that the thoughts maybe slow down or dissolve, disappear. They could actually, sometimes they can just disappear altogether for quite some time. So there seems to be this continuity, this extended sense of stillness or silence. Whatever you experience, though, just notice that at the very least there's a gap between thoughts in which there is no thought and you remain. And then notice that this undifferentiated self, non-objective self, is unlimited, pure potential. It's complete. Nothing is needed. Everything is already here. And then you can notice that as you're going to begin to open the eyes in just a moment, that when you imagine that happening, I want you to notice what starts to almost automatically, like a reflex, come along with that, your ideas of yourself, the limitations. So you see how you start to impose those external limitations. Oh, I'm this person. Oh, I have these problems. Oh, my experience will be like that. Oh, it will be dissatisfying. Oh, I can't hold on to this. Oh, all the limitations. How will I solve that problem? What am I going to have for lunch? That's just me. What am I going to have for lunch? So you can just notice how quickly and automatically those limitations come on. And then just let them go. And just continue to remain aware of yourself in your pure potential. And remaining aware of yourself in this pure potential, notice that complementary to this, not separate from this, is also this flow, pure energy. You might perceive it as a vibration or a light or a tingling or anything at all, or maybe nothing. Maybe there's no sense of it, and that's fine too. So you may notice this undifferentiated, pure potential, and you may notice also a energetic sense of yourself. And then just continue to remain aware to the best of your ability of this, and see how those habits of limitation arise, and just notice them and allow them to subside, just to release them. So don't fight with them, don't struggle with them, don't argue with them, don't be fearful of them. Just notice and just dissolve. And keep doing that as you slowly begin to open the eyes, so that you can start to recognize that even with the eyes open, you can be aware of yourself in this pure potential and pure energy sense. And that's all. So it's a very simple, very gentle exploration. And if you really receive that and make that a living inquiry, a living exploration, which you can do just as you're going throughout your day, even with eyes open, hopefully you've noticed now, even with eyes open, you can still be equally aware of this pure potential, this, even with the visual field here, the same stillness, silence exists because it's primary, and everything else is arising in that, of that, one with that. So you can be aware of this as you're doing whatever you're doing. And then you can just be aware of how quickly those, what I was calling external limitations, come online, and you just notice how you are in the habit of accepting those and then fighting with those. Just allow those to dissolve and just come back to this awareness of the pure potential, because clearly this pure potential, which is that which all of the objective reality is formed of, has vastly more influence, because you can see in every moment there's a complete dissolution of all form, and then a reconstitution. So everything is disappearing and appearing, and it's appearing according to whatever limitation we accept. So to have this awareness and then to put it into practice, which is key, right? I mean, because, and I can testify to this, just having that recognition is powerful, but in terms of lived experience, doesn't mean anything if it's not applied. You know, if I have that knowledge, even if it's a experiential knowledge, but from the past, and I don't apply it, then all that does is just feed into more frustration. Oh, I should know better. So, but really, in my experience, what really matters is practical application, which sometimes is easier and sometimes not, but always richly rewarding. In my experience, always, always, always richly rewarding. So we're not going to have a Q&A today. So I wish you all a wonderful weekend, blessed weekend. And I'll remind you of one more thing, which is important, which is that you can start to observe this in your experience, that this flow that's occurring, it's unrestricted flow, and it is nature, and it's in alignment by definition with your true desire. So the more that you surrender to your pure potential and to this, and then allow this unrestricted flow in a gentle, nourishing way. I'm not talking about in just like anything goes kind of way, but I mean, you really are in touch with feeling the subtle, gentle, nourishing nature of it. Then you will start to see, as I often say, that your experience, your manifest experience changes. Things start to happen, and it's great. It's giving you feedback, and then be aware that everything that's happening is part of what I call the healing process. So the temptation, living from outside in, using a mental construct based on past conditioning, is going to say, whoa, this is bad. I'm going to just judge it as bad. This is scary. This is unknown. This is terrifying. This is out of control. This isn't how I know how to, I don't know how to deal with this. I'm out of my league. I'm completely incompetent here. I don't have any competency here. And so a couple of things about that. One is, remember, you're in charge in a sense. You can ease up. Don't, like, relax. Try to have, it's okay to just like have a nice time, whatever that means for you. So you don't have to be overly serious. Please don't be overly serious. I'm overly serious, but you don't have to be. Just like take it easy. Go for a walk, take a nice bath, watch a movie, read a book, cuddle, whatever, like be gentle, be nourishing. And if it's like, if you're like freaking out because it's too intense, this probably just means you're pushing too hard. Ease up. Just be more gentle, more like, okay, I need more baths. I need to watch more movies. I need to like go out to dinner with my friends or something. I need to like just chill out. And also just keep remembering that you're not here to play it safe. You're not here to just protect yourself. You're not here just to get through. You're not here just like eke out an existence. You're here to know yourself. And you're here to be yourself. And that's in your wildness, in your untamedness, in your totality, in your freedom, in your vitality, in your wholeness. And so, yeah, it's gonna be uncomfortable because it's unfamiliar, because you've been living from the outside in. When you start to like dissolve those limitations, there's a surge of aliveness. It's, whoa, aliveness. I don't know about that. Which is what I'm saying, you manage that. It's like, if it's too much aliveness, it's going to feel uncomfortable. So you dial it down a little bit. You got time. You'll open up to more and more and more aliveness. You got plenty of time. Don't worry about it. That's true for everybody. See, you'll have some of you might have a thought, well, not me. I don't have. It's easy for some young guy to say, but not for me. I don't have that much time. You've got plenty of time. Time is a construct. You got infinite time. You'll see, the more you are willing to nourish yourself, the gentler you're willing to be, the kinder you're willing to be to yourself, the more you're willing to treat yourself like you would a beloved child or grandchild. To offer that level of love, nourishment, kindness, gentleness, encouragement, support, you'll see time opens way up. Way, way, way up. You'll have so much time. And so you can dial it down a little bit. It's okay. It doesn't have to be full blast. You don't have to be drinking from the fire hose all the time. And then also, don't be afraid for the intensity either. Like, that's why I sometimes say, like, we want to find the edge, because you don't want to be like collapsed because you don't have enough vitality. I don't have enough vitality, but you don't want to be, like bug-eyed because you like, I got so much vitality shooting through my skin, I can't breathe. It's got to be at the edge where you're like full, buoyant with vitality. And that's the edge, is it's alive, it's always shifting. So there's going to be one day that same level you're going to feel great. You're going to be like, yeah, this is awesome. And then the next day or the next hour, you're going to be like, whoa, way too much. So that's why you be tuned in to the present, to what's happening now, and you'll see all the other things are just artificial constructs. I shouldn't, this is the way it worked yesterday, why isn't it working now? You let go all of that, and you'll see you just keep showing up in this gentle, present, alive way, nourishing, kind, and offer yourself encouragement too. And that one form that can take is just that reminder, like, wow, sometimes I'm feeling overwhelmed or discouraged, or why is everything so hard all of a sudden, or I thought things were going well and now they seem to not be going well. And to remember, I don't know. I am not in a position to be able to judge. So instead, I'm just going to take it on faith, and you'll see the more you do, the more evidence you'll have of the truth of it, that everything that happens is for good. Everything that happens is part of the healing process. And so this too is that, even though I don't know how. I don't know how, but it's not my job to know how. It's my job to receive. It's my job to learn. Like if life was just about me knowing everything, how dull would that be? Get out of the way, everybody. I know everything. It would be so dull. So it's exciting, and it's part of that aliveness not to know, to be always learning, always receiving. So that's part of it too. Is just, I don't know. I don't know how this could be good, but hey, that's exciting. That's part of the lesson. It's a mystery. You hear people talk about like the great mystery. Yeah, it's a great mystery. So it's about the relationship to the great mystery. If I can have a distant relationship where the great mystery is some hostile kind of thing, and I don't want to be on the bad side of the great mystery, so I'll just hide out. Or can be the very intimate, very, very, very intimate, where I am that great mystery is my very soul. That great mystery is this entire creation. That great mystery is this aliveness. The great mystery is everything exactly as it is right now, and everything is perfect and nothing is a mistake. And so this too is that. And I am not a mistake. I am not in the wrong place. I did not do anything wrong. I am not broken. I am not a sinner. I am here in the perfect place at the perfect time, at the perfect circumstances, perfect experience, because this is exactly it. And if I just receive that, I can just trust and know that that is good, even though I'm not yet able to see it. But the more I trust, the more I experience, the more that faith grows, the more that it's real and known, and a beautiful thing. So there you go. So again, have a beautiful weekend. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you on Monday. Okay, take care. Bye for now.